It always blows my mind how happy people get when I give them flowers. You can bring in a bunch of flowers and it'll totally change the atmosphere in the room. It'll change the color, change the mood. A flower is a living piece of art. I'm a second generation for Sunrise Nursery. We're here at our rose greenhouse that's ready for Mother's Day. We've been here in these greenhouses for over 22 years farming roses. My daughter Bryn, my brother Tim, my dad and mom Maria and Jose. Everybody kind of does their thing, and that's what really works for us. Mom holds everything together, organizes everything, makes sure all the flowers are ready for the bunches to be made. Timmy's a great mechanic. He does a lot of our tractor work, fabrication work, so we've been able to diversify our equipment. Dad, he's just pretty easy going and chill, so he deals with managing the staff and making sure they're where they need to be. Everybody has their role and try to stick within that role, and it seems to work that way.
I'm Tim from Sunrise Nursery. We're here at the ranch that I take care of. I till the land, help plant, help water, fertilize. So I help out with every aspect of it. Sometimes when it's needed, I help bunch. This was our second farm that we bought. This is where I grew up. I've been here ever since I was, I'd say like 3 or 4 years old is when we moved here. Growing up on the farm was great. I'd have my own little garden in the back. I'd grow my own little vegetables. Started working here very, very young. Learned how to drive a tractor when I was 6 on the farm. It's just a really great place to grow up.
Sunrise Nursery got started a little bit over 30 years ago now. It was mom and dad working their full-time job and weekends cutting baby's breath status. They only had like 2 or 3 things, selling them primarily wholesale for very, very little money. My parents are from the Azores, a little island off the Lisbon coast. My mom always wanted to have a flower farm. After coming to this country, she worked various jobs from in-cut flowers to the canneries at Tandem Computers and Seagate Computers. She was worried about her job and didn't want to be laid off with kids at home. We had 10 acres at that time, so she decided to plant 100 plants of baby's breath and try to sell them in the afternoons and on the weekends. And 35 years down the road, we have almost 40 acres. I think they've done really well for themselves. We grow all kinds of stuff. We've grown from the 3 outdoor crops that we have. We're probably close to 30, 40 different varieties of flowers. Tulips, freesias, and those kind of early spring and late winter crops, to the sunflowers and the hydrangeas and the dahlias and different things. At any one time, we probably have like 10, 15 different varieties of flowers.
Everyone's got their popular flower. I love when we have a new variety and just seeing how excited people get that the seasons are changing. Like now we had sunflowers for the first time this week and everyone is so excited that it's sunflower season. I just like seeing the joy it brings to people.
People at the market always ask, how do I make the perfect bouquet? Do these 2 things go together? I don't have an answer because I don't think there's any perfect bouquet in my eyes that's going to be the perfect bouquet in your eyes or in someone else's eyes. And that's the other cool thing about flowers is somebody can think that flower is the ugliest flower in the world and 2 more people come by and be like, that's the most amazing thing ever. It can be the ugliest thing to somebody and the prettiest thing to somebody else, the exact same thing. I always liked farming. I liked to be out in the field. It was always seemed pretty cool to be outside and messing around with the equipment. That I just didn't understand it. It seemed from the outside, my parents struggled a lot. The wholesale market was very up and down. So they started looking at the farmers markets, and it was definitely a transition from a rough time into a better time. Our first farmers market was Monterey on Tuesday night and Merced on Thursday night. Now we do about 15 markets a week, all the way to Brentwood, Vallejo, and San Francisco on the other side of the bay. The markets were definitely one of those things that propelled us into the future, because if it wasn't for the markets, we probably wouldn't be here right now.
Biggest lesson I've learned is that if you want something, you got to work for it. As a kid, if I wanted to buy something, I'd have to go to markets on the weekends if I wanted my own money to buy my own things. Whole family's very hardworking. Everyone's a good worker. That's one of the biggest lessons I've learned.
I hope we're where we are today in 5 years or somewhere similar, because we've worked really hard to set it up that way. But there's so many unknowns and variables at this point, I don't know. We've worked really hard to be sustainable for the next 10 years, I hope. And then we'll reevaluate midway into that and see where we are. Now that I have a 2-year-old, I see the value in being at home while my kids are kind of running around, running amok, just playing in the dirt or whatever it is. And maybe that's what mom and dad kind of saw. She just like hangs out with me. Literally, I hang out with my kid at work. It's pretty cool. There's a lot to our farm. I don't know how much of that is because of what I've put into it and how much of that is because of what my parents have done. So I want to leave a good legacy because my parents seem to have devoted everything they have to Sunrise Nursery and to its establishment. They could have walked away and had me go get a job somewhere else, but they really, really struggled through it to make sure it was here for me and Tim. So I definitely want to leave a legacy of their story, that they came here with nothing and have this.